NewsNation's Leland Vittert joining us right now. Leland, 8 Republicans voting to remove McCarthy from the speakership, joining with those Democrats. How are more mainstream Republicans taking this? What are they telling you?
One described it, and this is a pretty senior member of Republican leadership, as being in a circular firing squad. The question is, how are Republicans in a better chance to make their case to America's people that they are the ones to lead? How are they in a better position this morning to make that case than they were yesterday morning, after the events of yesterday? And what's most stunning to me is all of the discussion of who's going to take over, because what it shows is these 8 Republicans literally pushed the Republican Party in the House of Representatives off Banzai Cliff, which is where the Japanese committed suicide after World War II in Saipan. They jumped off Banzai Cliff and had no plan. There's absolutely no plan among Republicans of how to get all of the things that these 8 Republicans say they want. There's not even a plan among those 8 Republicans. They just sort of wanted to burn the house down, watch it burn, tell the American people, we burned the house down because we didn't like that house, but we promised to build you a better one, with no plan and no really ability, at least at this point, to build a better house.
Yeah, it's interesting verbiage that you're using here. I mean, I even asked Congressman Lawler yesterday, you know, some people could see it as destructive, other people saying this is democracy, depending upon who you ask. But we do know that there has been turmoil. We know that, again, no plan B. What about what we know about North Carolina Republican Patrick McHenry, the temporary speaker, until McCarthy's replacement is elected?
Yeah, but both things can be true, right? That this can be destructive, and it can also be democracy. It is democracy. This is how it can work. The Republicans didn't break any laws doing this. The question is whether or not it gets them closer to actually what they want or not, and whether it foretells to the American people and projects the American people a sense of calm and a sense of leadership to get the American people to trust them to do other things. So you go there. Patrick McHenry, longtime McCarthy loyalist. McCarthy's the one who picked him to take this job back in January. One of the first things he did was order Nancy Pelosi to vacate some offices that she has, and so
that's
she
a
gets
bold
worse
move,
offices.
wasn't it?
Really?
Maybe symbolic, or was it pushy? Petty?
You know, at some point, it's very hard to make sense of the absurd, which I think can tell you a lot about this week for Republicans. I don't quite understand it. And I've been in Washington a long time. I've watched things in Washington a long time. It is very rare when people do things that it's so obvious against the greater good of their party, especially something this significant. And I thought was very interesting is that Democrats pointed out yesterday that Nancy Pelosi had a similarly thin majority when she was last speaker, and passed some pretty major things, including the Inflation Reduction Act, which was incredibly controversial, even among Democrats, and she was able to keep her majority together. So it's very clear that Kevin McCarthy did not have the kind of power over his caucus that Nancy Pelosi ever wielded. A lot of Republicans I talked to just sort of shook their heads and said, you know, this is just stupid, what we have done. And I think it's telling, right, that Patrick McHenry is now having to say, we got to wait until next Tuesday to come back. Now, whether there's 2 ways to look at that. One is it's because they don't have a plan. They need to come up with a plan. Another is that when we went through this the first time, when McCarthy became speaker with the 15 votes in January, it was so embarrassing to Republicans that there's an understanding among the more moderate bloc, if you will, or the larger bloc of the Republican Party, that they don't want to go through that again. And therefore, they want to try to come up over the next week with something that resembles a plan and come with that next Tuesday, rather than proverbially let the American people see how the sausage is made.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.